Good morning, white electric wizards, on a white electric wizard day in the wavespell of the yellow human. I thought I should try to talk about all these archetypes without ever using their names, so that anyone who's not familiar with this system, it doesn't have to be like, what are you talking about? So we're exploring free will and what we can influence as such, who influences what influences us, what do we influence, and wisdom. And yesterday we explored how it can be a challenge to ourselves, to our how even the free will can be a challenge to ourselves. Or is it who uses the free will? Is it the ego? Yesterday, I'll mention his name, the Skywalker, who represents wakeful exploration of space, and space exploring wakefulness, wakefulness giving space to exploration, exploration wakefully spacing out. Totally Skywalker. Oh, spacing out. Yeah, totally attached to the intuition and the dream and the abundance of the inner darkness. Yeah. Once you discover the inner darkness, terribly delicious. Anyhow, and the Skywalker is the aspect that is exploring or responsible for making ourselves feel good, living the life we want to live, having the experiences we want to have, exploring what they might be and how we get to have them. The wizard today takes it a step further as we are evolving. Yesterday, the Skywalker, when all is in balance, he's on the lunar tone in the wavespell of the human. I should not speak wavespell if we're not. I can't. A wavespell is a 13-day period that I'm not going to further explain now. So just if you are in any way, shape, or form new here, ignore those parts. It's in the challenging. It's in the position of stabilizing, challenging, and balancing, equalizing. What am I saying? Good morning, brain. So it can happen that too much pleasure seeking can really stand in the way of us making wise decisions. And I've said for a while I wanted to talk about addiction. The time has not come yet. Perhaps it belongs into 13 days of exploring our humanness, or at least the free will aspect of it. I very much appreciate the research about addiction where they say that the substance is not responsible primarily for the addiction. It is something in our brain, something in our psychology that makes us go down that route, and not in an exploring and using and perhaps enjoying or not enjoying and then leaving it manner, but in an addictive manner, in an abusive manner. I'm sure you know this, but for anyone who doesn't, experiments have shown with rats where two sets of rats in very different social circumstances. One set was happy family, they had each other, they lived a connective, relatively comfortable life, as far as lab rats can live such a life. And then they had some that were isolated, alone, maybe they'd even been raised alone, living a typically dysfunctional, say no more, Tatiana, life. And they gave them drips as options with heroin and then their regular food or water or whatever. And found that the rats who lived in their healthy social environment would try the heroin but not revert back to it. It didn't particularly attract them. I don't know if they ended up never going back there or if they did sometimes, but it didn't do much to them, and they certainly didn't use it regularly or abuse it at all, while the isolated rats did. Go figure. So in my books, our addicts are, in my ideal world, they would get a very special place in society. They are currently a barometer, as is a lot of us. Our mental health crisis, our physical health crisis, we are a barometer of the state of health of our societies, and therefore, by average, of the individuals of the society. And addiction is very obvious in, let's say, alcohol addicts or drug addicts. It's much less obvious in medication addicts, work addicts. It's very obvious and very acceptable because it's so common. Dopamine addicts, phone addicts, phone addiction, dopamine addiction. It's okay if we all have it. That it is absolutely as devastatingly drastic in consequence as heroin addiction. I think we're heading for a crisis that some industries on this planet are just licking their lips for it. It's like, yes, let's have it. We already have the medication in place for you. Well, it is worth exploring every aspect of our humanity. So here we are. Pleasure seeking is a very natural, very, very natural and necessary state, in as much as sleeping is. I've spoken at length about it. So, where does the wizard take this a step further? I'm going to take a very small detour for any of us who are by now familiar, or who anyway in the system familiar with the seals. The musketeers of the wizard are in the antipod, the yellow seed. Now, first of all, we're electric today. And I just wanted to make a note that the Skywalker is electric in the wavespell of the monkey. So, being of service, linking, bonding, and energizing the inner child, the playfulness, the magic, also the illusionist. I'm gonna get to talking about the brain. The human is in that wave spell, lunar, meaning in the challenging position, stabilizing, challenging. The adult, depending on the health of the child, the adult that the child becomes will be challenged, challenging, or stable. Polarizing into stability, stabilizing their polarities, stabilizing the male-female polarities within, stabilizing, all the polarities, rest, activity, sleep, wakefulness, blah 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 blah, everything. It can be self-regulating, nervous system stabilizing. How much stress a bit of stress is healthy, so there is a balancing, the ability to balance. If as adults we're anywhere challenged with any of those, we need to look at the inner child. We can look at the childhood for causes. We can look at karma, past lives, ancestral inheritance for causes. We can look at anything for the cause. Can be with it. We can also look at what is the state of my inner child today. Forget about all the causes. Where is that child at? Because ultimately, yes, you can do past regression. We can heal the past. But the past to the brain, to the body, does not exist anymore. Let's say, in anymore means it once existed, means we have time, means it was once here, it wasn't. That's not how it's meant. The past does not exist as past. It exists as eternal present. So we can, that's quantum healing. That's accessing any state of being through the now. And that's what the white wizard represents. Interesting, I'll still get there. Interestingly, as an aside, in the wavespell of the child, the white wizard, who is also the blue monkey, has the word magic in its 3 magic words. For the wizard, it's timelessness, enchant, receptivity. So there's enchantment. And is self-existing in that wave spell. Tone 4. It gives form, it gives shape. So depending on you, monkey, human, skywalker, wizard, depending on that progression, depending on where is the child at, it will influence the adult, it will influence the free will, it will influence the choices and the actions, it will influence what we choose, what makes us feel good, how we go about getting that or not getting that, how successful we are in life, success being what are our values, what do we consider success, by whose standards. Am I successful if the world acknowledges me? Am I successful if I've done something that will last for a couple of generations? Will I be known for posterity? Am I successful when I'm healthy? Am I successful when I'm balanced, when people like me? Am I successful when I'm true to myself? What are my values determines my success. And depending on the state of the relationship between the child and the human, which is stabilizing or challenging, I will be able to fulfill my own values, my needs, make my choices according with my values, be able to act, be able to do, be able to achieve whatever I consider worth achieving, and maybe not necessarily dictated by the social environment. Everybody thinks you ought to look like that, or have a car like that, or having that kind of a job, that's success. No. Stepping out of society, living a very free life, maybe in the street, maybe absolutely your ideal for a successful life and your ultimate sense of freedom. And therefore, the world may look at you and think you're a failure. You may look at yourself and think, man, I made it. I don't have all those conventions to uphold and blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, free choice. And the wizard is then giving shape and form. Remember, we go backwards and forwards in time, and there is the occult wave, which moves backwards. And I'm going into it. I didn't mean to skip over it or just fast forward if this is a bit too technical in terms of Tolkien. The relationship between the monkey and the wizard is always 4 tones apart. No way around it unless you start jumping through the analog or antipodal or occult kins. You can get there directly through whomever. But it's not necessary because everything is now, right? So we don't need to find a roundabout way, but whatever. In the occult wave spell of the occult wave goes backwards. So it would be the magnetic wizard It ends in the wind, death. In the white world bridger, opportunity equalize death, death equalize opportunity. And that is the occult wavespell to the eagle. Vision, mind, create. And in these are novel thoughts for me, so I'm exploring. I'm totally skywalking this one. I mean, this is my skywalking process anyway. This is my enjoyment. I love it. I'm exploring this theme where I now often have asked myself, until I really explored, like, okay, wait, there is a wavespell that really runs backwards. I've often asked myself, wouldn't it be so interesting, like, what if time goes backwards and we're going through a wavespell backwards? Well, we are. In the unknown, occult. Occult means not known, not visible, not obvious. Perhaps it can be related to our shadow self. So there is a progression, a reversed progression. The wizard particularly reminds us of timelessness. So I don't really want to bring too much time into this. I always want to remind us that time, the way we experience it, is simply the succession of events, which a part of our brain, a part of our whatever, maybe not brain, the brain is an antenna, not really the cause, but the receiver. Some part of the program dissects experience into slices, like a movie is made up of a lot of individual photo shots, and then they play one after the other, one behind one after the other in rapid succession, and it looks like fluid motion. If you watch the second part of What the Bleep Do We Know, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go, or something, down the rabbit hole, it's called Down the Rabbit Hole, Down the Rabbit Hole, I think there in that film they go on quite a bit about a disagreement between Einstein and don't recall now who, about are we pixelated or are we what, waves, something smooth. So the argument is, yeah, we are. One says we are pixelated, like a film coming in point in in the Tzolk'in. The kins are like pixels. The wave spell is pixelated because it comes in all these, but once it behaves like a wave, and for my own pixelated mind to understand, to really grasp the entire wave, that's a learning process. But I feel it's really I love it. Anyhow, going backwards now, backwards in succession or time. I don't want to hair split around that now. The relationship between the monkey, the magician, the child, the illusion, creation of illusion. It's a creative force, the child is. The wizard, enchantment. This relationship is always four apart. In between them is always the skywalker and the human. And they switch then positions in the wave spell, where in the monkey, the human would be the stabilizing or challenging polarizer, and the skywalker would be where the human separates, polarizes, the skywalker connects. The skywalker is the one in this wave spell. In this wave spell, the wizard is on 3. in the monkey, the skywalker is then that which connects the polarities. It forms the what I've said. I read. It forms the complementary relationship between the polar opposites. Polarization is good, provided we use the polar opposites to form complementary, mutually beneficial complementary relationships with each other. It would be good if we did that in politics. It is good that we do that with our own inner polarization. That stabilizes the system. And the skywalker, the tone 3, the tone 2 in each wave spell. The first day, the first is a unifier. It unifies, it attracts its purpose. Then it gets, the unity doesn't necessarily get split, but when we create one pole, any one thing, we automatically create the other. If you say this is good, you're automatically creating something that is the opposite of the good. So that's the second tone. And then the third tone, energizing. There is a friction, a tension, a something that gets created in these poles, two magnetic poles. The magnetism is, we understand very little about it. It's an eternal power source. It just doesn't stop. That force doesn't, you have to do something quite drastic to disturb a magnetic force. Take the Earth's magnetic field. The body has its own magnetic field. It requires these poles to create and maintain this magnetic field. And each pole has its own purpose. So in the Tzolk'in we have 20 poles. And always the one following was probably be the opposite pole, creating that, and then the next one, third, the electric. So then we're going into electromagnetism. And then we go into self-existing, tone 4. We are there today. Are we there today? No, we're electric today. I'm paralleling the wave spell of the child. Where today, where yesterday, what am I? Okay, have I done that, or am I done with that? I don't. Am I reiterating? Should I reiterate? Well, I was still going on this backwards thing, and in the wave spell of the eagle in the occult, where the wizard, this timeless enchanting receptivity, starts. Wait a minute. I'm talking crap. It's not the occult. It's the analog wave spell. That's the one that goes backwards through the kins. Yeah, of course. Not the unseen, the analog. Now, and then it's a different wave spell. It's not the eagle. It is, the analog is the serpent. Oh. Life force, instinct, survival. This is so interesting. It is so, I don't know if this is relevant. I wanted to talk about the brain. And it not knowing. Okay, maybe we come back here. Let me leave this for a minute. Maybe I'll come back. The wizard, electric. So we have a unity of purpose. Being human, having free will. The polarity, the lunar tone, the stabilizing polarities, there's always choices. I wanted to talk about what too many choices does to me. I don't do very well with that. I'm sometimes even 2 choices are too many for me. I really like it. I go somewhere to eat. It's like I look at what's on the plate. Maybe that is part of the conditioning. You eat what's on the plate, or else you get a hiding, or you go to bed without, or whatever. You don't get to choose your food if you really don't like it. Anyhow, I also don't believe giving children too many options about food. So there's a fine line in between there somewhere. Choices create polarities. You have to choose. This is so interesting. It's a Skywalker. The make yourself feel good. It's also taking responsibility. How often do we have to make choices that are not necessarily the choice of most liked, but they are the choice that makes most sense? And according to what? this wavespell, it must be the most important wavespell. I'm suddenly like just shocked at the everything is decided by our decisions. The brain doesn't know the difference between what it imagines and what it actually presently experiences. So to the brain, the wizard, the inner being, receptivity, the inner being, the inner, I'm not sure I'm talking the inner being in terms of the way that Abraham Hicks talks inner being, like who we really are, but to the brain, it makes no difference whether you're imagining a situation or whether you're experiencing it. It cannot tell the difference. And it reminds me of the serpent, who is the analog kin, the best friend of the wizard. Instinct, survival, life force. The thing about the serpent is that it has no vision, basically. It doesn't look far. The eyes of a serpent are pretty useless. It can't really see very well through the eyes, versus its antipodal kin, furthest away from itself, the energy of the eagle. The serpent doesn't easily leave the ground. It can get up into a tree, but it always has to slither its way somewhere. Eagle barely touches the ground. Sometimes a tree spends most of its time somehow up in the air, So, and has fantastic vision. So the two need to work together because each have what the other needs. And if it's only that the eagle likes to eat the serpent, our mind can easily eat up our body. Our mind is not necessarily the wisest. So if in the human, if in the monkey, if in the dog before, if, depending, I don't want to say if anywhere things go wrong, but if, depending on the settings, we treat our body well or we don't. Many of us who are terribly mental, terribly cerebral, very, focused up in the head, which much of the Western society is focused there. Hence, we have such issues with our bodies because we really don't often treat them very well. We don't live in them very well. We don't know them very well. We don't have necessarily a healthy relationship with it. Starting with our relationship with our sexuality, which the red serpent represents sexuality, the analog kin of the white wizard. The importance of the sexuality cannot be overemphasized. Now, depending on the settings, sex will be happening on different levels, fulfilling different purposes. Depends on the human, magnetic human. What is your purpose as a human will determine what purpose sexuality has for you, or how it's going to be used, depending on how you stabilize your polarities, masculine, feminine. Sexuality will take on a different meaning. Whatever. I'm not going there. The brain doesn't know the difference between what it remembers and what it encounters. It brings out the same chemistry, the same cascades of blah blah throughout the body, the same areas in the brain light up, or whatever. Even if they don't, there is a similar physical response. You can respond with panic to a memory just the same as if it was happening now, possibly even more so. It doesn't know the difference in time. If you're imagining a horrible future, the brain will produce chemistry in accordance as if it were happening now. And this is very relevant for the wizard, and in this case electric, in the wavespell of the human, linking, bonding, service. I'm missing one word. What is the word I'm missing? Activate. Yeah, brilliant. Activate. The electric tone activates the magnetism. It activates whatever polarization has happened. And I assume it does that no matter what. That's not optional. So whatever we create a polar opposite. Whatever we choose, and many of us are not consciously aware, not even necessarily unconsciously aware of the imbalances we are ourselves creating. I've spoken a lot about that. Many more modern religions, and I'm talking 2000 years modern, have really polarized and not stabilized, or created a very weird kind of stabilization. Well, they've stabilized, it served some, but it's taught us to condemn one of the poles. It has created, if not an equal opposite, but a virtually equal opposite counterforce to the divine. And with that, Blue Monkey, it has created an absolute illusion, and it has made a life out of that. It has made 2000 years worth of life out of that. It's created untold suffering on the planet, untold suffering, which echoes deep into the lives of every atheist on the planet, who have been several generations into atheists. And I'm talking atheists, most atheists are atheists as a result of Christianity, because atheism as such came about when eventually people said, no, we're not having this stuff that you are doing with us, that you're telling us. We don't believe it, we don't buy it, we don't want the control, we don't want to be told about, we don't want a dysfunctional God that you're telling us about. The whole system doesn't make sense, and it's not healthy. So they checked out of it. An atheist professedly claims there is no divine. So let's not go Buddhists, who are like not doing the God thing either so much, but not a monotheistic, but not multi-theistic either. But there is an acknowledgement of a divine life force type of whatever thing. Anyhow, I don't want to go there. I want to speak about the brain and the receptivity. And the wizard, his is inward looking. The inner being is 100% in control. Our inner settings. And I really recommend Abraham Hicks for understanding how that works. Reality creation, the relationship between monkey and wizard. In either direction, they share the relationship of magnetic and self-existing. So whatever we magnetize, whatever we focus on, if we do it often enough or long enough, it starts to shape our perception of reality. It starts to create the reality we experience. We call it that sort of, there are people who say we don't create it, but we create our own life experience. I may not have created this building I'm in, but I sure create my experience in it. I am responsible for that. For the way it makes me feel, for the fact that I have chosen to live here. Those are choices I have made. Or choices I have abdicated and someone else has made them for me. But then I have at some point chosen to abdicate a choice. And this is quite the journey of humans, to our evolutionary journey, to understand and to learn to choose, and how to choose, and what are the consequences of our choices, to choose wisely, and wisely is harm to none. And wisdom, when it comes to choices, is not always an easy thing. Many of us have a hard time choosing wisely what to eat. Oddly, the most affluent seemingly affluent countries have some of the worst eating habits and the worst choices of what to eat being made. But a lot centers around education and awareness. Many of us, the wizard, the relationship to the serpent is an inner awareness, receptivity of the body, through the body, of spirit through spirit, of the collective of body, spirit, mind, emotions, whatever, all these fourth level density, fifth level density, quantum field, you name it. We're growing in perception, in receptivity. Receptivity grows through silence. It can only be experienced in the now, in timelessness. Everything can be experienced in the now. You can re-experience the past. You can experience an emotion from the past. You can experience any emotion of your choice. You can experience any thought of your choice. But you're only going to do it now. So what is time? If we are envisioning a problem in the future, or we are afraid of something in the future, depending on the amount of focus we give it, and depending on what else we focus on when we're not focusing on that, we draw an equivalent of that experience to ourselves. Because the universe thinks that's what you want. That's a bit of a childlike way of speaking about it. We energize what we magnetize. We create electromagnetism through our focus. And Abraham Hicks always says, there's always two, wanted and unwanted. How do they say they resonate on the end, two opposite ends of one stick or something like that. If you're on the one end of the one stick and you want the other end, you can't get there from there. It's very difficult to jump directly to what you actually want if you're stuck deep in what you don't want, or the absence of. She calls it unwanted. And then they give you umpteen kinds of processes of how to shift your frequency from the unwanted to the wanted. And this is all the work of the wizard, connected to the monkey. And these four, you can go backwards or forwards, and they are linked, so you can just circle around those four: monkey, human, Skywalker, wizard. Wizard, Skywalker, human, monkey. In the not occult, Tatjana, in the analog wave spell of the serpent, the life force. And this reversed wizard wave spell, this analog wizard wave spell, is the best friend of the serpent, but it goes the other way. So where the serpent has on tone 4, the serpent. I'm going to go through this because what strikes me as important, because this is how we electrify our body. We do it through the body, through the life force, the same way now through, of course, tone 4 would be attached with the, oh wait, we're going, why am I on tone 4? No, a magnetic serpent, lunar world bridger on 2, and blue hand on 3. That's where we meet the wizard. In the analog way around, so the serpent, the life force, magnetizes the magnetic life force. There are many ways I could speak about this now. Magnetic. Do you hear this? My hands making a pulse. I don't know why. Why am I pulsing? Because I'm already on the second tone, which is the polar other side. The polarity to the life force magnetism, or it splitting itself open, I'm not exactly sure, is the world bridger. Death equalizes opportunity. So life is stabilized by death. When we don't understand what death is, we don't understand how life is stabilized through it. The release and the letting go. Our bodies are in this because they're constantly dying. We're constantly dying, constantly flushing out the system and building new cells. We're constantly also rebirthing ourselves. We're constantly bringing in new life. It's a constant, stable process. New opportunity. How do we feel when we're newly in love? It doesn't matter how old we are. It gives us so much energy because that's life force, a lot of life force, a lot of chi. And helps us to let go of all kinds of old trauma. Love is such a healer. When we get a new job that we love, when we get any opportunity that we really like, Skywalker, important for the human, on the second tone, going with the bliss. But if the human is like the rat, there's a hurt monkey before the human. If there is a isolation, a trauma, a non-healthy, that's non-balanced psychology, it's very easy for the Skywalker, the lunar Skywalker, we're in the wavespell now, for the exploration of life, for the how do I make myself good, to go really pear-shaped, because it's then very easy to abuse stuff, to think, we go into familiar energies and relationships and not maybe realize this is abusive, this is toxic. We don't realize it because it feels familiar. And therefore, it makes us feel, well, it can't even make us feel bad, but because it's familiar, it kind of makes us feel safe. I don't want to use the word good because good would be the wrong word here. But you know what I mean. And as much as I often have this weird-ass relationship with pain or with certain suffering as if it makes me feel good, I should look at that. What am I saying? Trauma tots talking? I'm not sure. I haven't obviously worked that one out yet, but it's, yeah, that's a work in progress. Note to self. Really, really note to self. And I'm not either very keen on giving it up because it is what's familiar to me. Such a part of my personality or my identity, not my personality, my identity, that who would I be without that? And that's the lunar world bridger. My life force, if I'm not willing to release my identity, if I'm not willing to release my whatever worrisome future or my frequencies that attract whatever, if I'm not willing to release it in this life, I will do it in death. Eventually we die, do a reset and come back. And everyone, both Cryan, Abraham Hicks, anyone who channels, whatever, they all say, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to have these short lives and die frequently anymore anyway. It was once useful because the only way you get your spiritual upgrades or you get your system upgrades was through death. You couldn't receive them in the flesh, so you had to die. And to do that, short lives, frequent deaths, 40 years die, 40 years die, 50 years die, 80 years die. We're going to head back to hundreds of years before we need to die. As we learning what happens with us when we don't update, what happens with us when we don't die, we will die. So that's the challenging and stabilizing of the life force. And then we come to tone 3. And anyway, in that progression, the wizard is also magnetic with the serpent. And then the Skywalker is in the lunar position in that way around, challenging together with the world bridger, challenging life and what we explore, what makes us feel good. If we only cling to what makes us feel good, we may land in death because we don't realize this is actually not healthy. And then tone 3, what electrifies this whole process, without any judgment. There's nobody looking on from the outside and says nobody, no spirit, no God, no nothing can override our free will. We can invite them and to help, and if we do, we have to do it on a constant, because if you ask today, Spirit, help me make a healthy choice, Spirit will help you make a healthy choice. In 5 minutes, Spirit cannot help you make a healthy choice because you have your free will. They can't override it. So if you're making a choice that Spirit says, make this choice, this is the healthy choice, and you're ignoring that because you're not listening to Spirit, you make it the other choice. Spirit cannot stop you. It can't stop us because we have free will. Cannot override. It cannot be overridden. So we have to constantly, white wind attached to the yellow human. Spirit, breath, communication. It needs to be constant communication with Spirit, and then see what happens in life. Oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to the blue monkey, the lunar human in position 2, polarized stabilized challenge. That's the challenge to the blue monkey, or the challenge to the Skywalker in the wavespell of the world bridger, or what? Serpent. No. Yeah, when it's in the lunar position. What am I saying? In the analog wavespell. Let's get back to tone 3 in the wavespell of the serpent, which is the analog wavespell we're in right now. Oh shit, we have to look at the occult to get the medicine for this stuff. I'll do that in a second. So here we are in the we are bonding, we're activating, bonding, serving. Remember, at all times, free will, like whatever our choices are, we've polarized. With a serpent, it's a little bit different in as much as instinct can be stronger than our choices, because it's much, much older. Your instinct may lead you to a partner that you may find sexually attractive, or that you may find you feel very familiar and comfortable with, but they are the one who's going to be the abusive, and you may not even leave, you may not even realize. Like I'm going extreme in examples, but you understand that's instinct, that's maybe misguided instinct, where that's the blue monkey thing again. If the child, if that doesn't, it depends on the alignment. You find yourself in situations where then the blue knight doesn't work. The intuition is out of alignment, or the intuition is not out of alignment, it's in alignment with your alignment, which may, so we get to observe. That's why I love going through the Tzolk'in. You don't have to mind all of this all at once. I'm just tying very far bridges. When we travel through this day by day by day, it's enough to just learn the day energy, just the kin, what is it? And eventually, okay, there's an analog kin. What is that relationship? There is a magnetic and a lunar and a tone 3. What is their relationship? What does that mean? It takes a few spins to get the grasp of that. Oh, but eventually, I just love, where I'm at the moment. So, so to go back to the serpent and the instincts, and the yellow human, can our free will update the instincts where they're out of balance? So this requires the wizard looking inward and being receptive. Am I balanced? Am I healthy? Are my choices healthy? Is my body healthy? Is my life system healthy? Are my relationships healthy? Is my work-life balance healthy? Is my bank account healthy? Where am I out of balance? And here I admit to knowing sometimes more theory than I'm also exploring the imbalances. And going very deep into this analysis for me personally is part of my escape route. It's part of where I go into a comfort zone of analysis, extremely exactly where I come up with something that's very uncomfortable, and but maybe I'm being hard on myself because I am in touch with some of the out of balances at the moment, and I'm seeing how I might slip into interesting. The lunar Skywalker has the lunar night, dream time. So if I'm trying to avoid a future nightmare, a present nightmare, an unpleasant emotion, an unpleasant thought, a fearful thought, it doesn't matter whether I have a fearful thought of the future. It will cause an unpleasant emotion, and I'm going to want to avoid that unpleasant emotion. my mind may not ask itself, is that thought true? Is that experience that I'm imagining true? Is it likely to happen? Is there something I can do about it not happening? Depends on whether I can ask myself that. Of course, that would make sense to do. And then to realize, oh no, I'm projecting a worry into the future. And by the time it gets to emotion, we're already in doo-doo. Because if I think to myself, I mean, I don't get into my car and think, gosh, I don't want to make an accident. It just doesn't happen. It's just like, I want to get to place A. And it's a given that we want to be safe, that we want to travel safe. But in our lives, when we're driving in our lives, we're often like, gosh, I don't want an accident to come. Gosh, I'm really worried. Someday I'm going to have no love or no money, or I'm going to be sick, or this is going to happen, or that is going to happen. Instead of trusting, and that's whatever, trusting in ourselves, in the divine, in the life, in whatever. And therein lies the healing to reinstate ourselves into that healthy inner child that lives in trust, that understands, that understands, White Wizard, receptive to the divine, that has a relationship with that understands the benevolence. Now, a lot of us, this life, other lives, the collective, up to today, we're constantly traumatized. We are traumatized by watching on the news bombs falling on people's heads. This is traumatizing to anyone who is not more or less sociopathic or psychopathic, who can't feel. All of us have a level of empathy, and I generally believe to a degree it's traumatizing because it always leaves us in that place that, what if this happened over here? And I don't know where you're living in the world, and whether you're somewhere where it's like, oh, this could never happen over here. But you will have other news of poverty, of a bank going bankrupt, or and suddenly all your money is gone, or a health crisis. We are constantly, through the news, through other channels as well, but through the news, bombarded with all kinds of information, some of which may, unless we're consciously not having that happen, for many of us, it triggers some fear, even if it's unconscious. Oh gosh, I don't want that to happen to me. And that could happen to me. Right now, Europe, Germany, has probably some collective fear like, what is going on with this war business? Are we going to be involved in a war? Is this going to, and we have it in our not so far history, this trauma. I personally grew up in the Cold War, so we're constantly being fed. Some say there's a machinery that does that consciously and intentionally. Be that as it may, we need to be the ones to say, wait a minute, receptivity. What is this information doing to me? What is the emotions I go through when I watch a movie doing to me? The brain doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know that I'm not experiencing it if I'm emotionally involved. What are the experiences of my environment doing to me? Do I have receptors to, there is a field around us globally, but right here, that contains all the thoughts of all the people around us presently. And depending on our own receptors, depending on what's actively resonating or what's receptive in us right now, we dock into that, we attract that. There's a magnetic field, there's an electromagnetic field, there's a bonding. The White Wizard, receptivity, bonds, it's on tone 3. Electric, activating, bonding, service. It doesn't judge, it cannot say, this doesn't serve you, and we make a decision for you. It's like, this is the frequency you resonate on, this is what you attract. And you can attract more of like frequency thoughts. So if it's a little bit of fear that is activated by something, whatever else, that fear activation now starts attracting, electromagnetically attracting, linking itself, activating in you like frequencies in the field. And it's activating those and strengthening that for others. This is our responsibility. Want to change the world? Change your own frequency, because you're going to broadcast and strengthen. Be the change you want to see in the world. You broadcast and strengthen, let's say, light codes, higher timelines, fearlessness. That's what the yellow warrior does. We meet the yellow warrior in 2 days. In 2 days. It's on tone 5. It's the center of this human. That's the center that radiates. And in the analog wave spell of the warrior, the wizard is tone 3. And that's the wave spell of the analog of the warrior. Of course, serpent. Hello? Wait a minute. The analog of the warrior is serpent. How fantastic is that? And the analog I have to check this out. I cannot make a mistake here. Wait a minute. I'm again. The warrior. Let's go magnetic. The analog. No, the analog is the knight. Now the knight. Okay. Where's the wave? Here. Has the serpent on tone 3. So, which means the wizard is tone 3, electric. The wizard is electric. And this is fantastic. The warrior itself is the occult of the serpent. Oh, you gotta just love this system. I'm just gobsmacked. This electric bonding, now tone 2 over here is the seed. The seed polarizes, and the wizard is part of the seed. It's the antipode, the receptivity, timelessness, this now thing. What are you receptive to in the now? Polarizes the seed. It's the antipode. It's furthest away energy, but it polarizes your focus. It polarizes our focus. And remember, we need to find, and the analog to the seed is the eagle, vision. A vision. The eagle kind of looks away from the now, because the eagle is also the second tone in the wave spell of the magician, of the wizard. And the wizard is lunar in the wave spell of the analog eagle. So there's this inward vision, closed eyes looking in, receptive, relatively passive, versus the eagle, and they meet in the wizard. Most like in the seed, most like itself energy is the eagle, looking far away, looking into the distance, having great brilliant vision for the future, for the distance, and the wizard right now. So the eagle's creative mind, yes, it needs the wizard. You're doing that. You have to choose your frequency in the now to create your future, but you have to know where you want to go. You have to know something of a development. Or you say, I don't need to know that. The divine knows that. The inner being knows that. Every choice I make, liking everything I like, Skywalker, I'm already choosing that. It's already been chosen. I've already chosen to live the life. I've already chosen that I'm a safe driver. I've already chosen that I arrive from A to B accident-free. Those are the choices I've already made. I don't need to think about that. I don't need to focus on that. That's a given. That's already built into the system. Now I can focus on, where am I going? I have a half-hour drive. Now I can choose, what do I do during that drive? Do I enjoy the silence? Do I have someone in the car that I talk with? Do I listen to music? Do I listen to a podcast? Do I listen to the radio? Do I sing? Do I think? Do I analyze? I have a choice. I have half an hour while I'm driving that my mind can do something. The occult here is the earth. And this lunar seed is guided by the warrior. Oh, we're still going to have the wave spell of the Blue Knight. It's yet ahead of us. and the wavespell of the seed is ahead of us, and the wavespell of the serpent's ahead of us. These relationships are so important. And this wizard, this receptivity. Now, where was I coming from? I wanted to get to the wizard on 3. Let's go back to today. And this yellow human wave spell. That was a mistake I didn't want to make. Yeah, I remember. But this is not such a good app for that. Excuse me. So this electric wizard and this electric serpent and the electric seed, this bonding service, and we're guided by the mirror. We're guided by order, endlessness, order, and who are you again? Endlessness, reflect, order. Truth. The mirror represents truth. Endlessness, or anyway, what is? A mirror doesn't reflect the future. Nothing exists. There is no future. Everything is now. So your state, my state of order reflects my now. It reflects what I have thought in what I call the past. But I have already projected a future self. There are many future selves. I'm currently really experiencing a timeline split. One self doesn't have much of a future self, or requires a very serious death experience, a very serious release from me, shedding of skin. And the other one has futures. So these future selves are informing my presence. I am informed by what I imagine about myself, even in the now, what I think about myself. This frequency is my focus, electric focus. Whatever I focus on activates me. Activates my human, my magnetism, my human. Where am I going? This electric seed today is, by the way, guided by, who's the guide? Because we're going to that, the star, of course, I knew that, it's always the one next to after that. But the cosmic seed is where we are, what this wave spell is all about. Our cosmic focus, becoming cosmic humans, becoming cosmic seed potential, focusing cosmically. Think bigger. What's our evolution? What is this humanity the seed of? Who are we the seed of? What is our future? And are we giving our future the nurturance of the present? It's so important to heal our trauma so that our offspring, our future selves, don't have to relive it. We can abdicate responsibility, then our future generations, our children and grandchildren, they will have to deal with it. And apparently, we incarnate often into the same family line, so we do get to deal with it ourselves. There's no condemnation here. Tatiana, you sound very judgmental right now. It's good to do it now. Do it now. You can do it in the future. It doesn't matter. There's no future, is there? The eternal child. And there is an eternally unscathed child. So if you want a timeline jump directly to that, that's quantum healing. No need to wade through all the bullshit. Some of us are doing that, so that we can arrive at this hey, collective consciousness understands quantum healing. We can drop the karma in one fell swoop. And then take it from there. Receptivity, electric warrior, activating the Skywalker, activating the human, activating tomorrow's visionary eagle mind, activating the receptivity, activates the warrior. The warrior activates the receptivity in somewhere else in our body. Physical receptivity activates the life force. That's why I went into the serpent wave spell, because our instinct survival life force the wizard is the analog kin of the serpent, but also when the serpent is tone electric. I mean, wherever the serpent is, the wizard is. Wherever the wizard is, the serpent is. They are absolutely linked, no matter what. They cannot be separated. The lunar serpent, the lunar wizard, they're together. The magnetic, they're together. The any tone, anytime, they cannot never be separated. So the inner being and the body are completely linked. And then the antipod, the eagle, the visionary, the mind, is also completely linked to the body. It's a very different frequency kind of sort of thing. It's far away, and they can really, yeah, I don't know what they can, but they are equally linked. And then the wizard's occult is the blue hand. The serpent's occult is the warrior. So there's a link between those two. And one would have to look into one could look into the wave spells of each to see the warrior in the serpent wave spell. I'm going to just do that for my own interest. Give me all night long. Give me that sweet love song. It's on tone 12. And what did I say? The warrior is tone 12 in the serpent. And the blue hand, give me magnetic wizard. The blue hand is not there at all. Interesting. So interesting. But it is the next wave spell. Okay, whatever that means, we can analyze. I'm not going there. So what we think, what we are in the receptive mode of, creates what we think. There's something, intent comes before thought, my friend used to always say. And how long have I been going? 10707. Intent comes before thought, and our conditioning determines what we can intend, what we can think. Our conditioning determines what we enjoy, what we don't. Our conditioning determines what we can even conceive of, what happiness means, what we are deserving of. All the limitations are programmed into us. And the wizard is a good one to become aware. The wizard, together with the skywalker, in the human wave spell or in the wizard wave spell, whatever their relationship are, in the analog wizard, the skywalker is the polarizer, stabilizer. In the skywalker wave spell, the wizard is the polarizer, stabilizer, or challenger, depending. So in even that little relationship. And then you look on, in the one, the human will be the bonder, activating the bonding service. In the other way around, the eagle will be activating. Visionary mind will activate bonding service. And since we are, well, there is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad. Evolution's evolution. We're going where we're going. The choices we're making are the choices we're making. We will always develop in the direction of benefit. If a benefit to me causes more harm to either me or others than the benefit, that is a choice that's not, the collective isn't going to support that choice. Whereas any choice that benefits more or only or whatever, those choices get favored because we're living in love. We're living in a universe that favors life, that favors joy, that favors love. So whatever increases love increases life, which is why the Skywalker is very important. And yesterday's Skywalker was guided by the serpent. And isn't it in the yellow human? Don't we have here this progression of there's a serpent, there's a serpent, there's a serpent, there's a serpent. Again, we've had it before. We have 4 serpents in a row moving around the center, from guide, doesn't matter now, from the guide to the analog to the antipod, and then the occult. So there's a lot of serpent. There's also seed. Wait, go away. Seed. 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed. We've had this before. 4 seeds in a row here, doing the same thing a day later, from tones 3 to 6. Am I right? Yeah. So the focus on the body, the focus on the instinct, the focus on how does this work? How do we work? How do I keep going on about that because to me that is so important. It influences our decision making. And the first port of call, White Wizard, is peace. Where do you have peace? Tomorrow? Well, maybe it might be helpful. If you can't find peace right now, can we envision a peaceful self tomorrow? I'm not sure I've ever tried that. I will rather stress myself out searching for peace right now. I mean, why does meditation become so stressful for some people? Because they're forcing themselves into peace and they can't get there from there. It's like instead of peacefully becoming aware of the unpeace, peacefully becoming aware of the unquiet, it becomes a pain. One of the reasons Vipassana is not easy. We become aware of the pain and we have to handle it physically, mentally, emotionally, just be peaceful with the pain. Note to self. I've never been attracted to Vipassana meditation. Go figure. It's like, oh no, who needs that? My spiritual ego says, you don't need that. Yeah. Honesty. White mirror is our guide today. Can we be honest? Can we be guided by truth? Can we look honestly at the reflection of our life, the reflection of our state of mind, the reflection of our state of health, the reflection of what states are our friends in? How healthy are they? What is our fish tank? What is the water in our fish tank environment made of? What's it like? Is it peaceful? Is it radiant? Is it successful? Is it cooperative? Who are we? Where are we? What is my purpose in this fish tank? Do I have a purpose? What is my purpose as a human? Am I okay with my purpose? Am I living my purpose? Am I fulfilling my purpose? Is my purpose fulfilling me? If I live the purpose of being an office clerk, is that fulfilling me? Do I like that? Or do I drag myself to work thinking, oh my God, I can't wait for retirement? Guess what? For most people like that, retirement, very often, if a person is able to really envision a wonderful self, a wonderful retirement, first of all, they are more peaceful with their present. Because they're like, well, this serves a purpose. I may not like my work. My mother is a case like that. She never liked her job, really, but she always knew that she needed it for safety. She needed, and it was what it was. And I imagine she lives a fantastic retirement. Fantastic. I mean, really, happier, more balanced than I've ever known her. Absolutely amazing. And it's like you can have the vision, and she can say now, that's what I did it for. I knew what I was doing it for. I knew then I needed the security. And look, everything. And my mother is an angel in human form. I kid you not. And it's like, yeah, she lives for love. She's always lived for love, no matter how hurt her inner self got and whatever she did out of that hurt. She always came from a place of love. And same with my dad. I'm born. My parents are angels, and it's like that love supports life. Their lives, both my dad and my mom's lives, are very supported. My dad is displaying some health issues, but that's where he himself can't find the love, can't find the self-support, blah, 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 blah. I can see the trauma in his childhood and his life and his ancestry, which I'm dealing with. So, yeah, bless. I really pray that he finds a way to live and end his life with as little pain as possible, a smooth transition as possible. He seems to be relatively at peace with his state of health and his life. So I can only bless that. But if we are dragging ourselves to work, hating every moment, hating a lot of our lives, maybe living in a relationship we really detest our partner, that will not bring about the future that envisions peace. When then retirement may come, it usually brings about a quick death or a rapid descent into ailments, because now the container is released, but there is no self able to maintain a different frequency from resentment, stress, pain, and unpeace. So it's going to manifest in something in life that maintains the frequency that was lived throughout the working years. And if you don't have a job to complain any longer, you will now create something else to complain about. So receptivity to ourselves. What are we doing? How joyful are we? And are we in denial? Are we in avoidance? Are we going into addiction because of avoidance of pain? Or are we actually choosing love and joy and peace? Okay, enough said. I think I've gone around the whatever twice or three times. I enjoyed this interaction immensely. We did. And I want to wish us a really lovely day and peacefully receptive, even to the disturbance. And to me, I'm basically really facing a challenge in myself exactly on that account. I've been doing so for a while. There being a frequency that I'm hosting, that I'm receiving, that I'm tuning into, that's one of the wolves I clearly am feeding, that I absolutely don't like, but instead of avoiding, it's part of the core of myself. So, and part of the core of the collective, I think it's part of what's potting around. It's a frequency it's really a very painful frequency. And I have all the receptors for all of these frequencies. So not to shun it, but not to over-energize it, but to meet it with love and whatever. I don't know if I'm wise enough to know what to do about it. I'm not sure that anything needs to be done about it other than to receive it and understand you're just a frequency. I disidentify from it and link the frequency to a healing or a peaceful frequency or something that I can then radiate out. My yellow warrior can then radiate the way I deal with those frequencies into the field and make it a bit easier for anyone else to deal with these frequencies. So that, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass here. I don't know, that's one way of applying a healing modality. There are many, and I'm just offering an option into the field. Let's put it that way. That seems to be a softer landing for me, because I can hear The other voice saying, stop focusing on that shit. It's none of your business. You don't need it. If that frequency exists, let it exist. You're not here to, like, you don't need to change it. It's anyone's playing field. Just you mind your own playing field. Is this what you enjoy? Clearly. Then go for it. Where is my paradigm shift in this? There is a paradigm shift waiting for me in this. I'm doing something that I gotta trust myself to do. I can't sit here and think, girlfriend, you're fucking up royally. And why not? Why am I afraid to fuck up? Hey, Tatiana, please, can I invite you to fuck up royally? This fear of failure is just exactly the problem. Sorry for shouting. LOL. Ugh. Hello. Oh, hello, McFly. Anybody in there? Oh boy. So many ways to kill a cat. I wanted to say bye-bye 5 minutes ago. Truth is, I don't want to say bye-bye. So this is my addiction. Is it my avoidance? This is me just wanting to hang out here and hang out here and hang out here and hang out here. Absolutely it is. This is part of my avoidance. I'm observing. Okay, I'm not going to do that on your time. I can do that on my own time. I've added almost 15 minutes to the game. In any case, have I added 13 minutes from 7 to 21? Huh? Mathematics, Tatiana? 7, 17, 14 minutes. Oh, lol. Okay. I wish us a receptive day. I wish us a beautiful day. Truthfully loving ourselves, our bodies, our experiences, and listening in to what it's saying, and my medicine is to not deny or avoid. That's when I'm conscious. Right now, I went unconscious. When I go unconscious, I just waffle on and on and on and on because that's my way of avoiding. But when I become conscious, it's like, okay, there is this frequency, I can feel it, but do I need to look for it? If I look for it, I feel it in the pit of my stomach. That's my body, that's my, what is it, my pancreas, there's my stomach, my digestive system, something I haven't digested properly somewhere, and it left a mark in my frequency. I can look for it, I can find it. Yeah, now it's crawling up my esophagus. It's doing an analog wavespell. It's going in reverse, like vomit. Vomit is the analog. It shouldn't come out that way. It should go down the other way. So here, this energy, like a heat, is crawling up my esophagus. Am I in avoidance again? I should close. Or am I in receptive mode? I don't know. Anyhow, so I could possibly hold the frequency peacefully, hold the experience peacefully, be peaceful with it, but bring in a second frequency, the polarization, stabilizing the polar opposites. If this frequency is yin, where's the yang to balance it out? If my nervous system starts building up a stress, where's the peace to balance it out? And to bring the whole system back into balance. If my pancreas or my whoever is down there creates too much bile, like shock or too much adrenaline, the organ is doing what it's meant to do. It's activating a fight or flight, but I have to go into freeze because that was all my life. I went into freeze. So my body remembers this, and so the rebalancing would be movement. Yeah, if I go into freeze, the rebalance is movement. And excessive movement, shaking, when we go shaking, it's not a kind of movement we do in regular life. It's a little extreme, but so was the excessive adrenaline, extreme. So you balance one extreme with another extreme, and then the system balances because the adrenaline calls for is an activator. It's a tone 3, serpent on tone 3. Huh? Wave spell of this blue night. Oh boy. Let's not go there, Tatiana. Okay, anyway, it wants to activate motion, to run or to fight. If so, when we are going to freeze, when we shake, we're using that excess energy to move copiously, crazily, a lot, and it resets the nervous system because then mission accomplished. And when we do it consciously, I mean, anytime we get a fright, we should immediately shake. One of the reasons when we give somebody a boo fright, the frightened person jumps out of their skin and squeaks. That reaction is a spontaneous release instant spontaneous release of that excess energy. A little shake afterwards would do, but mostly we go into laughing afterwards because then we immediately realize the situation. Blue Eagle sees what's going on, and then it's super funny, and then we laugh, and there is no trauma accrued from that because all the adrenaline, all that, it just got immediately released. And traditional cultures have festivals surrounding this. They have rituals doing like this. They bring up things that are really, really scary, and then they make music and dance so that the nervous system learns how to respond to when it gets frightened through movement, through dance. It's a teaching the nervous system. In the West, we don't have such rituals. And if you've ever received boom, fright, like your best friend waited around the corner in the dark while you were on your way to the toilet and you didn't see them there and they gave you a fright. I'm sure you've experienced where it didn't end up in laughter, where you really got really scared and then it went into anger. And then it's difficult. How are you going to yell at your best friend? Or maybe you can, but then you need to just like yell and shout for a bit. And then it also doesn't leave a scar. I think for me, since people like with like anger issues, like who don't know how to express anger healthily or rage, who go automatically, anger shows up, they go into repression. That's when it scars. That's when the nervous system doesn't get the release and the reset. That's when the body turns sour. And that's when bile gets created. That's when adrenaline doesn't get moved out of the system appropriately. And the body remembers, of course. And then it's like, the body does, it's like your free will. And that creates a fight between free will and body. The instincts can be overridden with the free will. I mean, I think only humans can do that. And that the wizard is really like, what's going on? Are we physically in balance? The body really will show us where we've abused it. It will show it to us eventually, where we didn't notice. And it will always, it has the wherewithal to reset itself. It has the wherewithal to communicate. And the red serpent is really, it's linked to the wizard because the communication with our body in the wave spell of, whatever tone the two find themselves on. They're always on the same tone together, whether it's on tone 3 in the wave spell of the human or on tone 3 in the wave spell of the well, whoever, the antipode, the analog, they find themselves always together in all kinds of wave spells. So one can look into that and see, well, what is, but first of all, just check that relationship. Am I receptive to my body? And then the body becomes the body is a power tool. I mean, oh my God, it is amazing. It is a power tool. It is spirit made manifest. It is receptive. It can detect the subtlest vibrations. It detects energies. It detects thought forms. It's this whole body, mind, emotion, spirit, blah, blah system. It's all linked. It's fantastic. And the human evolution. And today, no. Somewhere the seed has the earth in the occult. Who is the hand? Well, today the occult, but the human evolution is surely to become really masters of this instrument, to live in this instrument and to love, to experience the beauty of what we can experience as humans. Not like slave away in a job that is just like tiring, or like also not flop into the other extreme where we just like, oh my God, couch potatoing because we're trying to balance the stress with extreme pleasure. You know, imbalance. A balanced human body, a balanced life, a balanced society, a balanced relationship with the earth, a balanced relationship with the cosmos, a balanced relationship with the stars, astrology, all of that. When we're in all of that, in alignment, being human is totally delicious. It's not like paradise without like type of like no challenges. But we can meet our challenges. They're interesting. They make us grow. Pain and hurt will still be a part of the human experience, but it will not be dominant. Insanity will not be dominant. Our own dysfunctionality will not be dominant. It will just be something now and then to indicate, hey, nudge, or fell asleep over there, whatever. I don't know what that kind of humanity really is going to be like. I'm kind of just seeing the next steps, the relief from this, where we're taking it from there. And this is just my personal vision. I'm not saying that needs to be the vision for all humanity. Everybody gets to have their own. There will be Earths where the game is just throwing bombs on each other. I mean, why do we love it in computer games? I guess, you know, that's what you want to play, that's what you're going to play, you know. But we get to choose the frequency, we get to choose the timeline, we get to choose the reality we want to live in. Quantum field that has it, all realities exist simultaneously. Wizard, tune in, make your choice, make wise choices. Back to life, back to square one. Okay, now I've added even more time to this thing. I'm going to 32. I'm going to stop now and wish us a beautiful day. Enough said. Stop.